Hello everyone, and thank you for tuning in to another video. As always, this is the diagram, the high level overview of what will eventually be built here in Curzon Street. In today's video, we focus on the Canal viaduct supports that were built 2 years ago. They were built wrong with the welding and now they're being rebuilt. So we're having a look at that as the work starts up on them again. And also there has been quite a lot of improvements towards a haulage road on the right hand side near the existing tram track as they look to push the tram into the site. And also there's been a lot of improvement with sort of rebar placement and concrete pours. So yeah, let's get into it. I'd also like to quickly point out the Discord. There's a link in the description. Please join if you're interested. It's a good way to reach me. And we've got quite a good discussion going on with a lot of knowledgeable people. So if that piques your interest, please do join. We can also see on the screen here a list of the current channel members. Thank you so much for your support. It really does help the channel grow and it's much appreciated. So thank you all for your support. Right, as we get in towards today's video, I'm going to take a slightly different route. This is because it was pointed out in the Discord yesterday that there's two viaduct supports on this side of the canal. We're going to see them in a second. They're just across from the viaducts we can see here. And I'll put up a picture here on the side, but these were actually previously built and they were there about 2 years ago or 18 months ago in December of 2024. These were then taken down last year and around June time, and now they're being rebuilt. The reason for this, and there's an article, I might put it in the description, if not it's in the Discord, of the welding issues they had. Now, before anyone points out, oh, it's HS2 classic worries, or classic issues, this was actually paid for by the welding manufacturer themselves. They had to foot the bill for it. And it was quite extensive, I think, millions of pounds. But they are being rebuilt and we can see that. We'll take another look as we fly back over on the other route, but I thought that was very interesting to point out. We can also see over on the left hand side that sort of deck builder is what I'm going to call it. It's not quite a launching girder. What a lot of people think it's going to be now is actually go over Lawley Middleway, and then because it will all be attached at some point in the near future, it will be able to slide along and crawl along, and it will place deck sections across Lawley Middleway, Curzon number 2 viaduct, Curzon number 1 viaduct, and see all those holes. That's effectively what it's going to be filling in, the holes within Lawley Middleway. This machine here will fill it in. Well, that's at least what we are guessing at the moment. I have tried to reach out to HS2, although they haven't replied. That blue section is new since yesterday. We saw it on the ground, but they've now lifted that into position. And their overnight road closures finish on the 8th of June. So I'm presuming in the next couple of days, we will see this be placed on top of Lawley Middleway. Or they might do it slightly afterwards, but at least the overnight road closures are coming to a close. Looking down over the rest of the Curzon approaches and the other little bits that have got to be put on the decking machine. Looks like the intricate bit is left. They've put together all the big pieces, but there's a lot of smaller pieces on the floor. So that'll be interesting. And another look towards these viaduct supports on this side of the canal. We can see they've just started on the right hand side. Maybe slightly on the left hand side, but definitely on the right. So yeah, we're looking forward to seeing them being rebuilt. That'll be good because then all the viaduct supports for the Curzon approaches will be finished. These are the last ones, and that means they can get on with finishing up all the approaches in towards the station. And then they can put the track down and get signalling ready and things like that. But that will all be done over the next coming months. As we fly over here, not too much done yet on these pile caps at the bottom of the screen. And then obviously on the right hand side, we have the formwork storage area. I do like looking in here as it gives us a little bit of an idea of what's going on or what is going to come up. We spotted a triangle area in here before that was then used on the first decking section. You can see lots of formwork. A lot of them are larger, which is sort of around the sides of a large pile cap. But obviously there's smaller ones and things like that. We can actually see a lot of changes today on this water attenuation box, or I thought it was a lot of changes since yesterday. We can see in the distance here, in the middle of the water attenuation box on the right hand side, there's two special formworks. It's not like a normal concrete, one of the blue ones that they pour into. I should zoom in if I noticed this when I was flying over. If not, I'll do it later. But there's two on the right hand side, and then they've added some blue normal formwork above that. They've also finished this pile cap on the left hand side, and that's square with a blinding layer below it. And we can see how this rebar is taking shape. I will also put a picture on the screen of the order in which the U-beams are going to be installed. And there's one on the left hand side where it's mostly finished so far. That's going to be the first one that is going to be installed. You can see the rebar taking shape. And eventually they'll pour the concrete into that. We can also see the false work starting to take shape on the next section on the bottom of the screen now. And there's some more taking shape on the right. And then this area they've started to place the rebar around the front bit, or the far left bit. So they're getting ready to do a similar thing over here. The first U-beam lift should be on the week commencing the 15th of June. So we've got about 2 weeks left until they start doing it. They have a deadline of the 18th to place the first one down. So it will be around then. You can see that concrete is set on that blinding layer on the right. And there's something quite interesting coming up in just a moment on the right hand side, if we go over to it now, or if we do it later. Check over at this next big rebar section and pile section. This is one of the larger ones. More progress on the one on the left, sort of thatching in the top of it. As a guess, by the end of tomorrow, which will be Friday, by the end of the week, this will look pretty good. And then next week, I'm guessing they're going to pour the concrete on that section on the left-hand side, make that into a big pile cap. So that'll be good when that one's done. And then eventually, as we can see on the ones above, there'll be columns the whole way along here. And it'll look like another decking and formwork section. So lots and lots to be done. But this is the last part of this area below the ground. The rest of it will be above the ground. So it's exciting to see it progress. What's that one on the bottom right? They're doing well with that rebar. This is the first blinding layer. And then over here, we can see a huge new concrete pour. Now, this is not actually a blinding layer. This is a new haulage road. As when the tram starts to move through the site, it's going to block off the last haulage road. So this is 250mm thick, very, very strong concrete, obviously to support the very heavy lorries and deliveries they have that come on site. So this is actually the beginning of the new haulage road. And we can see them sweeping it all and filling in all the gaps of this this formwork. Yeah, so it's 250 millimeters thick, and in a minute we'll see that they will have finished it. You can see that concrete pump and the concrete mixer on the left hand side. You can see them using a long sort of concrete rake just before it sets. But this is a huge concrete pour. That is massive if you look how big the people are. And that will link up to the haulage road so that they can bring the tram track through. I know the tram looks far away on the other side. That's September, but they must be working on it or going to work on it from both sides by the sounds of it. So that is good to see. Again, we can see the tower crane in the middle of the screen and a large delivery of sort of prefabricated rebar sections. And then people were saying this is where the tower crane is going to end up. This is a remote controlled excavator, but it's got an attachment on that breaks through concrete. I have been told before, I think this is made by a company called Boma, but don't quote me on that. You can see they've now finished the formwork around that pile cap on the left. Sorry, that little excavator was called a Brock 130 Plus, and it is specialised for demolition. We can see they've finished all the columns, the concrete columns in the middle, and on the right hand side they're starting to take that formwork down. And on the left hand side there's 4 piles there. People were speculating in the comments, and I think it's a pretty good idea with the amount of concrete columns here, that is where the 3rd tower crane is going to go. It does make sense that as all these columns start to rise and they have somewhere to put a decking section and a U-beams across and sort of a lot of concrete columns, that they are going to want to put the tower cranes in relatively soon. I'm hoping sort of by September we have all 4 on site. It may even be way before then. As we move up to the top now of the site, looking over towards the boring and selfridges. I didn't actually go as far today. I'll get that in tomorrow. I totally forgot that they were excavating that area near the top of Selfridges, or near the Moore Street entrance into the site. This is another view. We can see them finishing off that road, that first concrete pour. We can see a little bit further on there on the left. And this is a higher route in towards the water attenuation tank. An interesting thing to note as we come down here, the rebar section on this decking, the reason it's only done in halves, so it's 2 concrete pours, we can see that on the far right, is because the way the U-beams are going to be locked into place is they'll do a first pour, like we can see, but we can still see the top of the concrete, the top of the rebar bit making the column. They're then going to place the rebar in, and then they're going to do the second concrete pour on top of it to basically lock it in place. So that is how they're going to finish that. Looking across at the water attenuation tank, there's not much left that doesn't have that concrete around the outside. This is a closer look at the 2 sort of small column areas. They've got some strange reinforced formwork around them. So they're going to pour all these. We can see the rebar section and the along the top. There's only about 3, maybe 3 concrete formwork areas left before it's all complete. And in just a second we're going to head off down towards the tram track. So this is coming in again from the top of the site. We can see there are 2 columns here of rebar that are going to be poured soon to basically finish off an area that is going to be ready for a decking section, much like below. If that is what's there, they may just be to hold up the building, but I'm sure they'll need decking and sort of linking up with each other, those columns for structural support. So I'm sure we will get some kind of decking section. As we fly along here, this is the approach of the tram. I like to keep an eye on this every day. As we fly in here, we can see them excavating now across the road. There's a pipe in there. Could be any sort of utility. They've tarmacked over that to keep the road open. It'd be good when it's this side of the railway track, which they seem to be working on now under the arch. And then here we go where we reach where they've got up to with the tram track. Those sheets are now gone, obviously, as the concrete is now set. And we can see where those sort of sheets were. The track looks slightly different to above, to the area where I don't think it has been yet. We can see distinctly where it changes. And where it links into the road, they're starting to link it into the road, which makes me think that very shortly they're going to pour the road on top and it's going to look like the rest of it. Back over the railway. And we're coming back into the site. Again, this is going to reach Curzon Street in September, so it's going to be a while yet, but really that's only 3 months and they will have finished all this, hopefully, if they're on schedule. So yeah, it's quite a lot of work to do in 3 months, but I'm sure they'll manage it. And then that'll come in between these two decking sections. And we can see here that they have finished this concrete pour. And here we can see them using a special rotating piece of equipment to sort of smooth it all out before it sets. And we can see them also raking it on the right hand side, smoothing it all out. We can see it setting already. Going over towards the offices. Well, this is the end of the video, guys, so please do like and subscribe. Your support is massively appreciated. And yeah, share it around, anyone that might be interested, and thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.